Hi, and welcome to Geir Isnes video blog. I've started video blogging more just because when I went to Somaliland there was huge traction on YouTube. There was thousands of people watching the videos and 1,000 more subscribers to my not very active YouTube channel, but since I went to that African country, it has just taken off. Much more so than Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. So I decided that I would do more video blogging. And this time I am releasing a book. It's a brainchild by Brendan Martin, my colleague. He wrote the book in rhymes, and I edited it a bit, and here we go. It is a game review of life. You know, the game we all call life. And it's a new take on life through the lenses of a game reviewer. So you can get this one-page book on my website, isne.org. It is free, of course, as usual, just like my music and all my other works. You can take it for free. It is a downloadable PDF file. If you really want it as an ebook, you will have to go to Amazon, and there it cannot be free, because to publish anything on Amazon you have to put a minimum price tag of about $1 on it. But as I said, you can download it freely as a PDF file. Now, there are other one-page books there as well. There are 12 other books, one of which is relevant to this game review of life, and that is called Free Will. It's a book I wrote some time back. It is a take on my view on free will. Basically, you can have a choice in certain situations, or you cannot have a choice in certain situations. So basically, free will can exist or it cannot exist. It's up to you basically to decide what you believe in, but that one-page book delineates the simple arguments of free will. I will just spice up this video to not make it just a book review or book release and that's it. I will go a little bit into quantum mechanics just to spice this up, because life always boils down to this little thing: do we have a choice? Are we responsible for our actions? Do we actually choose whether to eat an ice cream or a strawberry ice cream, vanilla ice cream, or, you know, do we have choices in life? And to illustrate this, I have made some drawings. Like that, I've just switched the camera angle towards outward, and now you can see where I'm sitting. This is my home, and as you can see, this lens is quite well to putting out my telescope and watching the stars at night when it's not cloudy, or the sun through my telescope, and we can see lots of galaxies and stars and nebulas and planets, etc. Out here. So, but for now, we are not in the big cosmology or astrophysics sentiment. We are down into the minute details of particle physics. And here we go. This is something I will describe in quantum mechanics. Now, what do you see here, over here, is an emanation point. It's a place where electrons are shooting out towards a wall here with two slits in it. And when these electrons are shot out through these slits, you would expect them to hit there and there, right? That's what you would expect. And you would expect, when you look at that back wall, that back screen, you would see something like this. You would see two slits marked by electrons having gone through the slits and hitting the back wall like this, right? Now, this is actually not what happens, because electrons, even though they are thought of as particles, pinpoint particles in space, they are actually moving along as waves. And then we take the other drawing. So what is actually happening is, you see all these electrons are shooting towards this slit, but all the way here and all the way through these slits, they are acting like waves. And when water goes through a slit like this, it makes waves at the other end here, right? And so does these particles called electrons, any particle actually. And the same with the slits, and it makes waves, and it actually creates what is called a diffraction pattern down here, where the waves hit each other. You know, when they collide like this, you will see a topping, an extra mark on the wall behind here. The drawing is not very nice, I know, but this is what it looks like. And when you look at the wall, you don't see just 2 marks where the slits are. You see these marks over here, which is what we call a diffraction pattern. Now this is interesting because the particles act like waves. But the funny thing is that if you just push 1 electron, if you forget about all of this and you just take 1 electron and send it towards the slit, what happens is that that electron makes a diffraction pattern with itself, meaning the electron goes simultaneously through both the slits and makes a wave pattern that interacts with itself. So you will still see this diffraction pattern even though you shoot 1 electron through the slits. Now this is really spooky, this is strange. So what people have done with this so-called double slit experiment, because it's 2 slits, is to put some kind of a device just at some part of this slit to see what is actually happening to that electron. Does it travel here or here? We don't believe it's traveling both ways, right? So we just put it here and we observe. As we shoot electron after electron through, we are really curious what is actually happening. So we put like a very, very small device to see where the electrons actually go. Now what happens when we do that? When we meticulously observe the pattern of the electrons, then all of a sudden, this happens. Bang! When we observe it, the diffraction pattern is removed and we get just these 2 slit markings at the end here. Now we remove this observational device and bang! Back to seeing waves again. And this is funny because it means that when we observe something, it becomes a particle. When we don't observe it, it becomes a fluffy wave. Meaning reality is fluffy and undefined as long as we don't look at it, but when we look at it, it solidifies and renders. Much like the game Minecraft or many other games like Fortnite or whatever, you will see that reality is rendered when you go to the edge of the area. And this is actually what is happening with our reality. We can see it rendering on a microscopic particle level. We can see it renders and becomes particles just when we observe it. When we don't observe it, it goes back to being a wave again. This is really, really interesting. And one can always look for, what is the hidden variable underneath here that makes it go like this? But there are actually no local hidden variables that can produce this result. There has to be either free will, observation, that makes reality, or it has to be super deterministic. The whole universe has to be completely deterministic and nothing is ever left to chance or choice. These are the 2 possible options left by what is called Bell's theorem. And therefore, you have the simple notion that either free will can exist and we are responsible, or it cannot exist and we are not responsible because everything is super deterministic. Now, we can read more about that in the one-page book Free Will, but now we are talking about the book release of Life, the game review of Life. And take a look at that on my blog isana.org and tell me what you think in the comments, either on this video or on the blog post itself. So there you have it. Thank you very much for today. By the way, it's the 27th of April today, and that's my sister's birthday, so happy birthday, sis.